Awesome. Nice to talk to you again, Sky. I've been looking forward to this.
Ariana, how you been?
I've been great. How are you?
I'm good. It's nice to see you. Have you been
Nice to
watching the
see you.
show?
I have, of course. I'm a little further than we can discuss, but I've been into it. So, what was your first reaction when you found out that we were going to meet Victor's dad?
Uh, I mean, I was pretty floored. Uh, yeah, it was realizing that yeah that part of the story now was going to be part of the season. I think what was an even bigger surprise was the thought of meeting him if that was going to happen, and then of course, and as it was just revealed in episode 4, now all of a sudden he's wound up in the town with Tabitha, and it is pretty inevitable that I'm going to meet him. That to me was beautiful, terrifying, and all the things.
Yes. Well, we can talk about episode 5. I will
Yeah,
post it after. But in episode 4 and a little bit in 3, Victor is really set on remembering. Why do you think he's really set on remembering and making sure that he doesn't forget? Do you think he thinks it's his responsibility to remember to help people get out? Is he scared of forgetting things? Why do you think he's really set on remembering things?
I think now after so much reluctance to really go down that path. Jade was really working him in the previous season to get answers from him, and he said to both Jade and Tabitha, like, people shouldn't go looking for answers. But I think now, because of a number of things happening, from the external factors, the weather, Chan Chen's death, I mean, up until the point that Tabitha comes back, Tabitha was gone for a number of days as well, right? So I think Victor is feeling responsibility. I think one of the things that I was working with, greatly throughout the season was Victor constantly, you know, uh, asking himself, "Did I do all this?" Which is a lot. That's just something I was just sort of giving myself, but that's what I think is also driving him down the path, digging up the valise, sitting down with Sara in the fort, and going, "We're going to get. I have to remember these things. As scary as it is, I have to remember these things." I think he wants to. He wants to do the right thing.
Why do you think, at least in the first half of season 3, that Sara is kind of his partner in support? Why does he choose her?
I think that there is, there's a connection with them that they both acknowledge. They find each other, I think, in a certain way. So is my answer to that, because I think, first of all, Victor goes to that house because it has so much to do with Eloise, his sister, and as he mentions in 4, that they used to play in this house and build the fort. And I think that he knows that whatever it is that the path that he has to go down in order to open up this valise and go through these memories, is I think he wants to build that safe haven for himself, where he can do that. And I think she plays some kind of a part with him, in the sense that obviously they have a connection with the Boyne Whites, that they
Mm.
both find out once that they find once they start talking to each other. Uh, and I think there's just something about her that just, I think that for Victor, is like having his sister around, and doing the fort together. That's clearly something that they used to do together, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that
And
there's some sort of safety in it.
yes, and I think also Sara is honest in the way that Victor is honest, even when she's
Yeah,
saying, like, I don't know if your dad is going to like you, and I'm not going to say that he is, but I
right.
I think this is something that you should do. But why do you think he's so afraid of seeing his dad? He was mentioning, oh, like, I'm not little anymore. Why do you think he's so afraid of it?
I think the answer to that is that, and again, this was something I gave myself, is this idea of everything, the responsibility that Victor feels about all of this, in a way that I think it comes down to, when did I first fail him? I blocked him out of my memory and made him a dream, in a way. But now that that reality is that much closer to me, can I face all this? Did I fail him? How did I fail him? Did I fail him by trying to help, my mother get into the tree? Did I, whatever it is.
Yeah,
So I think that's a big part of it. I think there's a fear of who I'm going to be, certainly how he's going to see me, but I think that that idea of how did I fail him?
Yeah, because he even once he meets up with him, it's just like, I didn't know how to get home. I think it's a level of guilt, like, I
Yeah,
messed up. I didn't know how to
yeah,
get home.
yeah,
Um, I think it's also beautifully directed and acted how they meet halfway. I think it's very important that they do
yeah,
that.
yeah. It was really, really wonderfully done. Yeah, and of course, working with Robert Joy, who plays Henry. He's just a wonderful, beautiful actor, a crafty veteran of the business, and uh, it was so wonderful to do that scene with him. That was a very scary scene to go into that day, and we really kept our distance from each other so that we could try and create as much reality in that moment as we could. And I found, there'd be certain takes I do where I'd go, I think, okay, just whatever happens, happens. If I don't cry, if this, we don't try and plan any of these things. Every time I would look into Robert Joy's eyes and he would say my name, I just fell apart every single time. We both would fall into each other's arms. I mean, it's a beautiful story. It's a beautiful moment. I'm so grateful for John Griffin having given us that storyline and that moment together. I thought maybe it would even happen later in the season, but all of a sudden there it was. It's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think Victor would have done if he made it back to Maine, which is his hometown? Hometown, kind of. Like, he grew
Uh,
up in this town, but where
yeah.
he's from.
I'll admit, I've never really thought about that because I guess Victor doesn't. But that's a great question. I don't know. Like, would he go seeking out his father? Would it be recognizable to him? Would he just go and camp out in front of the house and just stare at the house for the longest time and watch his father? Like, how? That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, right now, I'll say this for the sake of time. I would think that he would try to get home. I think in some way. Even carrying all that guilt or whatever he's got. But I think that would be my answer. Yeah, he would go and see what was left there, or who was left there.
Do you think, like everyone else in the town, that he has a desire to get out? Or he hasn't really allowed himself to think of that because he grew up there? He has abandonment issues, let's be honest. Has he really even played around with that idea?
I think it's such a great question, isn't it? Because I think, and that's part of his conflict, is I think part of that fear that we've been discussing too is that idea of prying any of us, if these are just great life lessons, prying any of us from our identity or what we think is our identity. He's so ingrained with that place. Like, I really see him as a beautiful creature of this environment, and I think that he said I think it was episode 8 of the previous season that he didn't think there was a way out.
Mhm.
I don't think he's seen too many people get too far as they try to get out of that place. I don't think it's been that successful. So Boyd getting as far as he did, and Sara and all these people doing what they're doing. But I think he's starting to see the light. As things are getting worse, though, I think he's sort of seeing, like, he's feeling his greater purpose. There's no doubt about that. And I think he knows now with this responsibility issue, like, this is something that I have to do whether I get out or not. I think it becomes a task of, like, I think it's a selfless task that he's putting himself on now.
Have you, as Scott, ever thought about what Victor would be like if he never went to the town, or have you not played around with that idea?
No, I haven't played around with it too much. I mean, I do, every now and then I sort of think, like, as we all do, it's like, what would be on the, I mean, I guess, like, what, for as me, Scott, what would be on the other side of it? Like, how would Victor function if he did make it back to Maine? Like, that does cross my mind from time to time, and I know that's a hard thing to think about. I think it would be really, really difficult.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I can't wait to talk to you again. I'm speaking it to existence. Congrats on this and all your other projects that I see going on.
Thanks. Thanks so much.
And awesome. I will talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks so much. Great seeing you.